Michigan Liberation is a statewide network of people and organizations organizing to end the criminalization of black families and communities of color in Michigan. We envision a state without mass incarceration, mass policing, and punishment. We envision a state with the best public education in the nation, single-payer health care, and thriving black and brown communities. Here, on the Respect the Roots podcast, we will lift up the stories and experiences of those impacted by mass incarceration, collective ties to the criminal legal system, and the frontline efforts to end mass incarceration.
What's up, everybody? I'm Miss Marjon, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Respect the Roots podcast. Oh, man, we're on part 2. The first part we did from cell to society, the reentry journey, part 1. And now we're on part 2. I've got the same amazing guest up in here, Reverend Spruill. Give a shout out, give a wave, give one of those waves. We got Josh up in here, Josh, and Tiffany, Lady T. Yeah, I'm giving everybody these names like we about to go do some radio, but no, we are kicking some knowledge here, y'all. This episode right here is I just know it's gonna be it. And Josh, we left the first one with giving Reverend Spruill and Tiffany a chance to give nuggets, and you didn't get a chance to give your nuggets, but I believe your nuggets is your story and everything. So I'm gonna just be quiet and let you give your nuggets, this time around.
To continue on with the story?
Yeah.
To continue on with the story from where we were kind of at, like when I did the work inside, I realized once I got some of my education together and the 2020 elections were coming around, that we weren't going to make change just by doing flyers and petitions. And I had life. I was not going to get out of prison unless something major changed. And the Republican Supreme Court had repeatedly shot down attempts to raise the age of juveniles for consideration to 18. And I was 18 when my case happened. So I said something had to be done. So I founded the Adolescent Redemption Project, right? TARP. TARP was a C4, and we did it, and we supported Karen McDonald, Ellie Savitt, progressive prosecutors, as well as Supreme Court judges.
Right. So this is inside prison. Let's Josh, real quick backstory. You gave an amazing testimony of how you were brought up. Your both of your parents were, deceased, and you end up going to prison
for life.
Yeah. Let's be straight. Life, and you're in prison. How long did you serve?
In total, I served 29 years.
Wow. Say that again.
In total, I served 29 years.
Wow.
And I can say, I might have needed to be there for 10. I might have got a little educated between 10 and 20. But by the time the last 9 rolled around, it was just wasted. I was not a threat to society, and like her son, who I mentored and who turned the corner quicker than me, within 10 years, he's ready to go. He's not a threat to society anymore, but he has life as well as a 19-year-old. So to me, it was important when I was inside to change these judges so that we could get a shot at raising the age. And my organization contracted with a brain science, Lawrence Steinberg, who actually wrote an opinion for my organization, and we submitted it on amicus briefs to the Supreme Court. And after that election, we got Elizabeth Welch elected. We along with many others. It was a major process. But my organization poured probably about $20,000 into those campaigns, and Elizabeth Welch was the crowning jewel because she ended up being the +1 to flip the Supreme Court to Democratic control. 2 years later, Elizabeth Welch would write the opinion and be the deciding vote that would allow 18-year-olds a second chance at life.
Wow. Now explain that second look, because a lot of people don't have no clue what that is.
There's 2 separate things going on at the same time. Right now, we're back in the Supreme Court fight again. And my organization was given $5,000 to help do relational voting through prisoner families inside, to get their families to sign up in a relational voting block, to get out and vote down ticket for Kyra and Kim, right? So that Supreme Court needs to say that way because 19 and 20-year-olds are now having their cases heard. people like her son, Anthony Gelia, will be up there getting their cases heard. But that court, if we don't vote the way we know we need to vote, it might not be the right votes to get that stuff passed, to get that decision that we need. Now, the second thing we're doing is what's called second look legislation. And this has been a 3-year fight. In the beginning, when the Sentencing Project came from Washington, D.C., it was my organization, the Adolescent Redemption Project, along with American Friends Services and MySemi, Michigan Collaborative to End Mass Incarceration, that hosted a wonderful sister named Alexandra Bailey that came out of D.C. to feel out if Michigan had the roots to be able to make this movement happen and get second look legislation passed, which is saying that judges who we all elect, this is almost a Republican idea.
Say that. We'll say that again, because people don't have, I don't know who to vote by, all that, don't know civic.
Right.
But, okay, so judges.
The judges that we elect, right, they do not have the right to go back and visit somebody's sentence. They might have saved a prison guard. They might have gotten 4 college degrees. They might have a doctorate degree inside and no misconducts. But that judge has no right under Michigan law to go back and take a second look at that individual sentence. But we elected that judge to make judgment. But yet our legislature, with its statutes, bars that judge from looking back at these individuals that they've already sentenced themselves and taking a second look. So this second look bill would now allow these judges to be able to, after 10 years, depending on what it is, maybe 15, maybe 20, we understand that homicide, different cases, will take different amounts of time for society to accept that. But nothing is guaranteed. We're just allowing the judge to go back and take a second look. And there are 2 public safety checkpoints. That judge, and if that judge gets it wrong, the person still has to go to the parole board and see the parole board. And that's where putting the work in inside prison, like the Rev said, doing what you're supposed to do while you're in there, which is a difficult task because individuals with long indeterminate sentences and life sentences, you're not allowed MDOC programming until you're within 3 years of your release date. So everything her son is doing, he's doing on his own. He's doing through organizations like the National Lifers of America, through Shadow Steps, through the church, because the DOC programs are only allowed within 3 years. They had to ram DOC programming down my throat because I got resentenced so fast and got a parole so fast, they didn't know what to do because they had written us off. They had said life means life. He's going to die in there. We don't have to give him any programming.
Wow. And let's go back a little bit. Man, if you're just joining us, I got Reverend Spruill here, who is working with the prison ministry in Macomb Prison and everything. He's family. He's been here before. We've done some expungement down where he runs his organization. And then we got Josh, 90 days fresh out. 90 days. That is unbelievable, man. And then Tiffany, who is a mother. Hey, we're giving you a new title, advocate, abolitionist, everything, right? Okay. And her son is currently serving right now life. But a phenomenal team here today. But the thing is, I wanted Josh, you had talked about, in the first part, episode, and you guys got to make sure you definitely check that part 1 out, that, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Explain that. And you said even a year before that, they basically told you not going to get out of here.
When you have life without parole, you're allowed one mechanism. It's called a commutation or clemency. You can petition the governor to give you a second chance, right? And even in that petition, the parole board looks at it, and then they make a decision, and then they slide it up to the governor. So a year prior to this, year and a half prior to this, I had sent a petition in. And on July 10th of last year, my petition came back, and I had the same 3 college degrees. I had the same, I had started nonprofits. I had wrote the same books. Nothing had changed inside of me. I was the same safe individual that's sitting before you right now. But that parole board said that I had no merit, and they had no interest. So, but yet, on July 17th of this year, I'm released. A year later, and my prosecutor says that I'm a model of what needs to happen in prison. The parole board takes 24 hours to decide unanimously that I deserve a second chance and a parole. But yet a year before that, I have no merit. That's why we need mechanisms like Second Look. That's why we need to allow judges and individuals we elect to go back and look at these individuals in
Absolutely.
prison.
Absolutely.
Because rehabilitation is real.
Wow, y'all. Rev, I know you met Josh through your
Yes.
program, right?
Yes.
And so, explain to everybody your program. They come in, you doing Sunday service.
Sunday
but-
service is we do level 4 and level 2 on Sundays.
Now explain that, because some people don't have no idea what
Well,
level.
level 4 is less movement, and level 2
Higher
got more
security.
movement, higher security risk.
Really?
And so we minister to both. We don't look at whether level 4 or level 2. We're there to minister the word of God, to encourage everybody, regardless of what level they're at, but also to encourage and give them hope when they seem hopeless, especially an individual who's doing life, like Josh was.
Like Josh was.
How do you encourage an individual that's doing life, man? There is hope. Don't give up. Keep preparing to get out, because things change. And we try to encourage them that you know what's going to happen down the line. Like with Josh, with the law change. Before, when he was doing it 20-some years, the law was still the same. He had no idea this was going to happen. But when the law changes outside, it helps the guys on the inside as well.
Right.
Again, it's about preparation and then giving the guys some hope and encouragement, man, that, hey, you can do this. You're not by yourself. Your family will, and we don't have family. We encourage them. Hey, we are your family. We come to give the word of God, but also to encourage you as well, And with our Shadow Step program, it's very awesome, because a lot of guys in our program now, we see the change in them, their behavior change. It helps them to develop while they're there. It's about growth, development, and change. Those are the 3 things we always encourage them guys. It's about growth, change, and development. And we see
Growth,
this
say
in
that
the
again.
guys. Yeah.
It's
about
about
growth, change, and development.
Okay.
If they do those 3 things, work on those 3 things while they're incarcerated, they'll be ready to come back into society.
when they come back, and
Yes.
that's the key.
Yes, the key. Yeah.
Getting that training, so when you do get out. So Josh, you're in there. You working it, and that's another thing I want to help us who totally are clueless.
Yeah.
Because some people think you're just sitting there in a cell, just twiddling your thumbs. But you was working. You was doing lobbying and all kind of activism
Yes.
work while you were incarcerated. So when you got out, talk about that.
Well, first off, I want to step back to his Shadow Step program for a brief second, right?
Okay.
For me, no matter how much education I got or whatever I did, there was something missing, and it was getting that vertical relationship with God. And in Shadow Step, they talk about the horizontal is what we have out here, but that vertical connection with God is what will make your life easier, calmer, give you that peace.
Yeah,
I hadn't got that
balance.
peace for a long time. I needed to
Yes.
get that vertical relationship with God. And through Reverend Spruill and Orlando Gregory, that's what really changed me and calmed me and kind of solidified me in that fire that made me who I am today. But also the Shadow Step skills, getting out, one of the first things I was offered was to be trained as a trauma-informed, peer-led reentry specialist through Nation Outside.
Wow.
Because they had recognized the mentorship that I had done with her son, with other people inside prison, and they said, you need to be mentoring individuals returning from prison.
Right.
And getting out and having stable employment is one of the first things you want to do,
Exactly.
And I thought, I'm going to be able to jump into this right away. But the Department of Corrections denied my lien clearance to be on video and go back and pick guys up because I'm on parole. Told me, no, you can't go help your comrades. We're going to deny you. They didn't just deny me. They denied about 8 other people for Nation Outside that all put in to do this job and were trained and certified to do this job. And it's called Trauma-Informed, Peer-Led Reentry. This is what the government of Michigan, the legislature, gave money to Nation Outside to do. But the DOC decided, nah, we're going to reject these guys. So I thought I was through. But Nation Outside is also made up of all guys and girls that came out of prison.
Right.
So
right.
they
One
said
of
to
our
me-
partners. Shout out to them. Nation Outside.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They said to me, we're going to get you into Oakland County. So today, I picked up my badge to go into Oakland County and help the jail trauma-informed peer-led reentry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And
I'm being home 90 days, doing all this already.
all in 90
Yeah.
days. I
And-
mean, so 90 days, you're out. I mean,
Yeah.
gosh,
He's
you
done
know.
everything. He's tough. He just
You
keeps
know.
going and going and going.
But the other thing that really was a blessing that came from my being inside,
Yeah.
that 2020 story that I told you.
In
I
the
g-
part 1, tell us
Yes.
again. Tell us a little bit.
In 2020, I started the Adolescent Redemption Project to be able to flip the Supreme Court and also support progressive prosecutors in different races.
Okay.
Fast forward, I'm at an event and I get introduced to a brother named Lynn Wiggins. And Lynn happens to work for former Senator Adam Hollier in the Democratic Party. And he hears a little bit of my story. And he says, I got to put you in front of Adam.
Mm.
I get a Zoom with Adam and he says, and I tell him, I said, I want prison families to be a voting bloc that can move things. Imagine 36,000 incarcerated individuals writing home to their family and saying, vote down ticket for these Supreme Court judges. Vote for your local judges. That's power.
Say it. Yeah.
And they actually came back and put me in front of the donors, and I asked for $3,100 to be able to send emails into prisons to motivate these people to look down ticket, flip that ballot over. You know, make sure you're looking for Kim and Kyra, Supreme Court judge, nonpartisan section. And the people there said, no, we want to give you $5,000 because we also like that your organization is running programs and you're trying to go into these juvenile facilities and talk to these kids. So here's extra money. And that was on day 60 of getting out of prison.
Wow.
And today is actually day 90.
Day 90. Wow. Wow. Tiffany, I know we got to get you on the mic, Tiffany.
Wow.
Tiffany, what you hearing all this, Tiffany? Let me get you in your mic, Tiffany. Talk about, I know you're on fire. You ready? You drove almost a hour and everything. I know you on fire because the energy that y'all both bring.
I just listening to him, I'm so proud of him. I mean, he just doesn't stop. And I can, like I said, when I talk to him on the phone, and he's got the energy Josh has.
Right.
And it makes me happy now to know that at least he's okay in there. And I just feel the energy from him talking to him on the phone. And matter of fact, I'm kind of upset with myself because the last few days or a couple weeks I went to go visit him.
Visit your son.
My son Anthony in prison. I was going to see him and
Go back to that first visit about what happened at that desk, because she shouldn't be upset with herself.
Yeah.
The prison staff there don't treat you fairly.
No,
And an
oh,
incident
that's-
happened that I think she has the right to share, and that people need to know about how they treat our families when they come in.
Yeah, because we got about 10 minutes, but Tiffany,
okay.
we definitely want to hear it. Yeah.
oh,
Tiff.
you mean when oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Okay.
the cash in the pocket.
Yes. Okay. So I forgot about that. I'm sorry. Yeah, we showed up. It was me and my mother and my girlfriend, and we showed up to see my son.
Right.
And now my girlfriend's in her 60s, and my mother, the machines were down, and we're roaming around. We put our names. We come in and we put our names down on the paper, and then you have to put your number on your plate number down, and so forth. And so my girlfriend, we couldn't figure out the lockers. You can't figure everything out, but the lady at the desk, she's not going to get up and tell you anything. They want to make it as hard as they can for you. That's just how they are inside a prison. Sometimes you might get somebody nice, but the lady behind the desk, she's going to say as less as she can to you. This is the lady at the
Yep.
Yeah.
at Macomb County.
Yeah.
She can be nice, or it just depends. If you're wearing a dress, I get they have rules. But I wear a dress, but I wear a sweater to cover myself up. I don't,
Want to
but-
be revealing.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I wasn't revealing, but she didn't like my dress that day. So anyway, my girlfriend
they take
had
their visits. They
They will,
not
so-
let you in to see your loved one because they feel that his mother was not dressed appropriately.
Yes. And so anyway, my girlfriend had money and the machines were down and she got confused. And as we were going through, the lady at the
gate, basically.
gate,
that's searching.
They
them.
searched us, and my girlfriend had a $20 and a $10 bill, I believe, in her pocket. And my mom kept trying to tell her, go put it in the locker, but she didn't hear. And she wasn't trying to, it's not like she stuck it up her butt or anything like that, excuse my language. But I just wanted to get in to see my son. I didn't care. I didn't have a card at the time.
Right.
For
So
the
my
vending
girlfriend,
machines, which were down.
yeah, I grabbed her money and I said, "Well, Brenda, I don't know what to do with this." And so I gave it to the girl and she grabbed it and just put it up on the counter. And as
The
we
officer.
walk, the officer. So we all walk through. They check our feet. They check our mouth. They check, Next thing you know, we're all sitting down and we got these, I believe, 2 or 3 officers coming in, and they've got like a Kodiak or one of those cameras, and they're taking all 3 of our pictures. And my mother's in her late 60s, and she goes, "Well, what are you taking our pictures for?" "Well, ma'am, you bought contraband in, and you're not supposed to bring contraband in. And this is kind of serious." I'm thinking, oh my God, I was so embarrassed because I've got my mother in here, and it's not like we're trying to. They knew that it wasn't something we were. Anyway, so they took these pictures of us, taking up, they're over 60. And this one lady, they follow us back out, and they said, we could terminate your visits for life from seeing your son. I
10 and a
thought,
20.
oh my gosh, my mother was so angry at me. And she says, my mother's blaming me and for my girlfriend being ignorant, and they didn't. So I drove almost 2 hours. And I had a headache. I just was nervous. And my mom said, well, you guys didn't have anything on the machine saying it was out of order. And the one girl says, that's our fault. You're right. That's our fault. And it was just
chaos.
a mess.
Yeah.
Chaos.
But they still terminate the visit, and her son is sitting there waiting.
Yes.
They don't tell us nothing.
So let me get this straight. They terminated that visit.
They
You didn't
said-
get a chance to see your
No,
son.
we had
Never
to get
made it through
back
the
in our.
gate.
We had to get back in our car after we went through the whole. Them stripping and our feet, and just because of a $10 and a $20 bill, they told me that they could take my visits away for life, but they're not going to today. And if, I'm very lucky. And that we had we turned around and we had to drive all the way back home. I was just sobbing. Sobbing.
And,
So that's really, and this
Just
is
the
what
stuff.
happens. And
One of
another
the stories.
Another time I went in and I had a little tiny tear the size of a little tiny square in my jeans. And one woman in there didn't like it, so she made me drive all the way to Myers to get a different pair of jeans because it's just down the road. I thought, you got to be kidding me.
This is
so
a
I
mother
did,
going to see her child.
and I did. And I went all the way to Myers, and I came back, and they were tighter than the jeans I had on before. And I couldn't believe it. But I better do what they say because I don't want them doing anything to my son. Just, you got to do what they ask you to do.
Play the game. Y'all, we got about 5 minutes left, and I know time to be flying. And the thing is, y'all got to come back because it's so many topics. You see how it goes by so fast? It's so many topics and stories that need to be told. Josh, I know I definitely want to give you your opportunity for those who are going from cell to society. Take us on. Take us there. Take us. What is your 90 days you've been out?
Yeah, really, a lot of the experts said, go relax, go lay down. And these are social workers that never have been justice impacted. And I might get a little flack from this. Don't do that. If you have a rhythm set up in prison where you're working, you're staying on top of your game, your goals, you're meeting, you're doing what you're supposed to do, when you get out, keep doing that. Go to meetings, be everywhere. Get with your church and the people that supported you. One of the first stops that I did, I dedicated when I first got out for the first couple of weeks, time to always go down to H.O.P.E. And we made cookies, we worked in the food pantry, we did clothes.
Yeah.
But we have a duty to give back. And many of us that are coming out here feel that duty, and it's a wonderful duty. But don't take it easy on yourself because you just got freedom. Jump into the game, make yourself available. You don't have to charge. Just Go do some good. Get into the community. And when you get out here and you dig into the community will love you back. And that's what I found. I had the opportunity to go to North Carolina to a $250,000 house on the side of a mountain with my one last really relative. I have an uncle in Michigan and an aunt in North Carolina. She said, come down here, take the easy button. I said, no. I owe a debt of atonement to the city of Detroit. I'm going to stay here. I paroled to Linwood and the Lodge, to basically like a halfway house. I am now in a 3-bedroom house in Redford, blessed beyond belief, with my own transportation, working as a trauma-informed reentry specialist for Nation Outside. That's because I put myself out there. I did not take the easy route. I put the work in. And I put the work in before being released from prison, and after.
Yeah.
You don't make your plans up until the gate. You make your plans for the life you will have after the gate. You live as if freedom is around the corner, not as if it's never coming. And by doing that, you manifest the destiny that you want, and God will bless you with that.
Yes. Thank you for that, John. Man.
I couldn't have said no better.
Yes, Tiffany, you got something on your mind.
I just got to say that if it wasn't for Josh, that, with Anthony, that him and I would have never met. And Anthony, he did tell me, Josh is a great person, wonderful person, Mom, and he did wonders in this prison. And he said, he will never let anything happen to you, because he knows I don't get out too much. And I'm just really glad I met him. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Josh, and he's helped my son a lot in there. I'm a lot more at ease knowing Anthony's where he is today in there with Josh's help and all the teaching and keeping him going. And
everybody, support system.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what's up. And I just want to spend this 1 minute thanking all of you, because most people who come here, I'm saying this is not going to be the last, because we are all here called. Many are called, but few are chosen.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Amen.
scripture.
Amen.
And we believe in Michigan liberation. Those closest to the problem are closer to the solution.
Absolutely.
But we are learning. We all play a role. And it's just amazing. When you let God lead, it'll start with you, and then you'll meet, and then you'll meet, and then we all will meet. And now we're telling the story. So other people, you just don't know. So many people watch this podcast, and they're just touched. And I'm honored that y'all are here, and you came to spend your time here and everything with me this evening and everything. So y'all, I'm telling you, these they're gonna be back, but these 2 episodes are gonna be be it, y'all. So if nothing else, y'all, I want us all to say together, respect the roots. Y'all gonna do what?
Respect the roots.
Until next time, y'all, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. This was part 2. Check out part 1. Thank you, all of you, and I love you, y'all. All right, till next time. Michigan Liberation Education Fund, C3, conducts grassroots organizing, leadership development, and civic engagement activities. Michigan Liberation C4 and Michigan Liberation Action Fund, IE, are sister organizations.